you come down over there. And one of the things I want to talk about in the second hour, the flagellum motor, hopefully we can talk about that. Could you confirm this for me, John? Isn't it true that they are the evolutionists, as far as the Big Bang goes, they're raising the size of the initial glob of goo that was compressed evidently and exploded in the Big Bang? Because I know that at one time they said it was as small as a pixel of a television. Then they said it was the size of a pencil pen point. Then I think they're up to a marble now. Next year, I'm thinking they're going to be golf ball size, and after that, basketball, and then pretty soon. I mean, are they not changing that original? And how do they? Is there a mathematical equation that they fed into a computer that computed the size of the original of all matter, of all universes?
One advantage of getting old is you remember when the last theory was popular, and all you're telling us and telling everybody who's listening is that scientists continue to change their minds. And if anything they said was fact about the origin of life, if it's evolutionist, then you could not believe your biblical account of creation. But you're old enough, I'm old enough to remember that the last theory has gone the way down the tubes. The next theory is in. Everyone at university thinks it's fact, but in 10 years there'll be a new one.
Right.
And it'll prove the last one wasn't a fact at all. Hence, remember that fossil that was 200 million years old in 1987 and 235 million years old in 1999. It's not fact.
Right.
It's just opinion.
Okay.
So, yes, you'll find they're trying to come up with mathematical gap fillers when someone says, oh, but hang on, it wouldn't work that way because, so they go back, feed their stuff in the computer and say, here's the problem we have, what's the solution? And so it brings up this until someone says, hey, that doesn't work because. And it's always, in fact, I love to tell people, if God was there and you weren't, if he tells us what he did and you disagree with it, in the end, you're going to be proved wrong.
John, would you say, is it important whether or not a person believes we were created or we evolved?
Well, you'll find you can go in two directions with that. If you look at, say, your American situation, we believe all men were created, right, equal. Obviously, the founding fathers of your documents had a concept of God who was a creator. It does not read, we believe all animals evolved equally. So that wasn't even in their concept. So hence, your famous political documents, yes, it's important that you have a concept of God who was the creator. It becomes far more personal when you sit down and say, well, okay, I'm pregnant, I really didn't want the baby. If I evolve, then it's just a fish-like blob, like they put me in a textbook. It's got gill slits and a tail. I can chop it up because my dad took me fishing and we caught fish and we chopped it up. So obviously it becomes far more personal. Those things we used to regard as murder because God created us. The baby in our womb is a gift of God. It's got a heritage in God's image. It's not just a fish. So yes, it becomes very personal at that stage. And obviously when you get onto the theological level, if you're going to be a Christian, then you have to come face to face with Jesus, who A, the New Testament says is the creator, B, he said, I am the way and the truth, and C, if you disagree with him when he was there, in the end, as I said, you're going to be proved wrong. So it becomes a very personal issue because at the end of it, you're going to have to stand in front of God and he's going to say, I made the world in 6 days. Why did you say I took 6 billion? So there's a lot of implications.
Okay. All right, everybody. On our Newsmaker line, as I said, is John MacKay, and we're talking about creation or evolution. If you'd like to get on or involved with this conversation, go to the EdgeAM.com website, click on our Fast Blast, or send us a question right through the live chat, which is going on now. John, we need to go to break, so can you stay with us through the break, please?
I can do that.
Just stay on the line. All right, everybody, this is Daniel Ott, and this is the Edge Television Network, and you stay tuned. We're going to come back with a lot more questions for John MacKay, and if you have a question, get it in now, and don't forget, this program will be up on our website tomorrow where you can view it or listen to it again, and we're going to be right back after the break, so you stand by, and I only have one thing to say on this exit, word to your monkey. I said it.
Tune in, buckle up, and get ready for a ride on the Edge radio broadcast. Your mission commander, Daniel Ott.
Everybody, this is Daniel Ott, host of the Edge radio broadcast. You know what's making this show such a success is people like you, our loyal listeners. Tell a friend about the show. Call or email your local radio stations and tell them about the show. Let your local radio stations know that the Edge is a free broadcast with some of the most important interviews of our time. Micro broadcasters to giant radio stations can all broadcast the Edge for free. Tell them to upgrade their program lineup and get the Edge on the air in your area. I'm Daniel Ott, discovering the truth together on the Edge radio broadcast.
If there's a building on fire in Iraq, should they go in there to rescue the women that are screaming with getting burned to death?
These days, if that building were on fire, it would be because of American bombing. Who is posing this question? I wouldn't presume to speak for UFO people and label most of them as agnostic or atheist. I wouldn't paint with that broad brush.
Of the religions of the world that seems to be killing more people than not, what religion would that be?
I think you would make a real strong case for Christians. I wouldn't paint with that broad brush. Who is posing this question? The United States has savagely invaded another country, and there have been upwards of 100,000 Iraqis who have been killed. I wouldn't paint with that broad brush. Looking at World War II, tens of millions of people that were killed by ostensible Christians. I wouldn't paint with that broad brush. A great many so-called Christians are participating in that slaughter. I wouldn't paint with that broad brush. And in fact, if you look at the history of Christianity, there is a pile of millions of corpses in the wake of so-called Christian proselytizing. I wouldn't paint with that broad brush. Who is posing this question?
Are we building the underground bases to protect ourselves from Christians or Muslims?
I don't understand the question. Who is posing this question? I wouldn't paint with that broad brush. Who is posing this question? The man who was alleged to be the Son of God. Who is posing this question? There are great war crimes being committed right now by the United States. Who is posing this question? Who is posing this question?